We spend thousands of hours producing content intended for you to look great through classic men's style. But today, we'll show you how to always be well-dressed. Shout out to today's video sponsor, Nomos Glashütte from Germany. At a time when many watch brands are owned by big conglomerates and prices are going up and quality is going down, Nomos continues to produce artisanal, manual wind and automatic watches with in-house movements, focusing on quality, and they're an independent maker, and so we're honored we can partner with them. The first thing you can do to always be well-dressed is to make every day an occasion. Just think about how confident you feel at a wedding or an important business meeting when you put a little effort into your look and the way your chest pops up and your mind is set really makes you feel good about yourself. Frankly, there's zero reason why you can't unlock that same confidence at every day of the year. Of course, we don't expect you to wear black tie to a gym or a three-piece suit to the grocery store. After all, being well-dressed doesn't mean to always dress formally, but to be appropriately dressed for the occasion. That means, yes, you can be super casual and still be considered well-dressed. And it makes sense. You're out in public, you're meeting new people, or maybe they recognize you because you're always the person who stands out from the crowd in a positive way. So when you're going to the grocery store and you know you're going to carry heavy bags home, then a casual ensemble is the way to go. It communicates comfort and ease, and it's also practical. Of course, it's not just about the occasion, but about your personal style and needs as well. Take a look at Preston, for example. He always runs hot. So often, he wears short-sleeved shirts. Here you can see him pairing one with a pair of light gray trousers and loafers. He isn't particularly dressed up, but obviously he puts some thought into his outfit. Because of that, it has a much better effect than if he would just wear a worn-out t-shirt and some joggers. So what's a simple way to elevate any casual ensemble? It's accessories. For example, Preston could wear a hat, which will make the outfit truly unique. Or he could have a bold pair of socks that stand out between a shoe and a pants. Or he could wear a wristwatch that doesn't just have a plain old white or black dial. So here Preston is wearing a Nomos Tangente 38 date in the color Schlossgrün, which means as much as castle green. And I don't think I've ever seen a green castle, but the color combination of the light green, a bit of red, and this beautiful green are right up my alley. The case is stainless steel and polished. The strap is a medium gray and textile, and the hands are rhodium plated. So you can see color-wise, there's quite a bit going on. But if you think about it, gray, green, the red of the minute indicators, these are all colors that you often find in classic menswear. And because of that, it's rather easy to combine, which is not something you might think when you see a bold color dial in the first place. Now, if this color isn't your jam, they have 30 other colors to choose from. So is the Nomos Tangente 38 date in Castle Green the be-all, end-all watch and the first one you should buy? Perhaps not. This watch is a really fun way to elevate your outfit and always be well-dressed. You probably noticed the powerful effect the Schlossgrün dial had in our previous outfit, which brings us to our second point of always being well-dressed, and we call it Rock the Rainbow. If you go back 100 years, all the way to the swinging 1960s, color played a more important role in classic menswear. Now, if you go back even further, men were true peacocks wearing fabrics like velvet in silk and illustrious colors. Because men wore colors more often, it was easier to master the art of color matching, pairing, and coordination. As we said many times before on this channel, a great place to start in terms of color is the color wheel. If you want to learn more about that, we have an in-depth video, and we also have something for more warm weather colors. Personally, I love colors, and most of the time, I like to incorporate a bolder color into my outfits. Today, it's the color green. Other times, I like to wear a bold pair of pants. For example, one of the 14 colors in our Stancliffe corduroy line. Every time I wear one of those pants, I get complimented on it. People say, ooh, that's a beautiful color, or these look nice. And because the cut is a true high-rise, people notice and say, ooh, this is different than what I wear. Where did you get those? Now we have them in traditional shades of navy, brown, and olive green, but also bolder ones like sky blue or goldenrod yellow or a bold red. Now, of course, you may say, it's your business to be well-dressed, and you're a clothes horse. But is that right for me? No, I'm not saying you have to wear a bold green pair of pants. But it can be fun to have something that stands out from the crowd. For example, today, I'm wearing a pair of linen trousers in a white and kind of pale brown Prince of Wales check pattern. It's not a bold color, and from afar, it looks like a uniform color, but when you come closer, you can see the pattern of it. Maybe you have a more limited wardrobe, or maybe you stick to the basics, or maybe you just haven't mustered the confidence yet to wear something really bold, like a jacket or a pair of pants. Then, one of the easiest way to incorporate colors into your outfit is, again, using accessories. For example, today, I'm wearing a boutonniere flower, which are handmade from silk in Germany, and they just add visual interest to your buttonhole. Or look at my pocket square. I could have gone with a plain white pocket square, which is probably something most men interested in classic style own, but I chose one with kind of a wavy edge and a green border, which is something that we designed at Fort Belvedere, just like our boutonnieres. If that's too much for you, again, maybe a ring, your socks, your shoelaces, or a wristwatch could be another fun way to introduce color. As an example, let's consider the bold yellow minute ring of this Nomos Tangente 38 date. They call it lemon biscuit, which is a perfect name for the color of this lemon cookie. Although this bold color scheme is grounded by a cream face, the blue numerals make it look really cool and bold. Here you can see this watch being paired with an oatmeal-colored safari jacket, which is perfect if you want something casual, but something that looks very intentional. The pants are white and off-white, and paired with the brown loafers, it is definitely a summer outfit. At first, it might seem like a very neutral outfit, with colors of brown in the shoes, white in the pants, and oatmeal in the jacket. But you can see with the accessories, they really pop. There are the blue socks from Fort Belvedere. There's that blue stripe in the shirt. And then there's, of course, the lemon biscuit with the blue numerals. At the same time, the yellow with the lemon biscuit watch works well with tones of white, brown, and oatmeal. So it all harmonizes, but it's distinctly different. So now you may say, well, it works well with this outfit, but really I don't have a safari jacket and I can't afford to have one watch for just one outfit. Sure, I hear you, but let's look at this outfit here. David, the same person, is wearing kind of a gray suit with a green undertone. He's also wearing a light blue shirt, which is very traditional. Now his shirt is a Winchester shirt, meaning the collar is white and different than the body of the shirt, and it pops. So does his yellow honeycomb tie. And here we go, colors blue and yellow, perfect with this type of a lemon biscuit watch. It's almost like his darker, grounded suit is the canvas for the bolder strokes of color. So when you utilize colors in your outfit, you always want to have something darker as a background color, which grounds the entire ensemble and makes the color pop. If David would have worn this same tie in yellow with a pale yellow shirt and an oatmeal jacket like the one in his previous outfit, the colors wouldn't pop as much and they would appear more washed out and uniform. So in a nutshell, utilizing color is one of the easiest way to create a very intentional outfit that makes you look well dressed, and especially if you consider contrast and how you incorporate it, it can really help you. Now, personal complexions such as your hair color and a contrast to your skin tone can also play into that. In general, the more contrast you have in your complexion, the more contrast you can also wear. Now, there are exceptions to the rules. If you're like Kyle and you have dark hair and dark skin, it still looks really good with a high contrast outfit. On the flip side, if you have blonde hair and pale skin, you can choose fewer contrasts, and a really stark contrast may be too much. If you want to learn more about this, we got you covered. The third thing you can do to always be well-dressed is to have fun with formality. To many, formality is something they feel is threatening them and is stifling their creativity, and they fear it. Now, if you reframe it and think about formality as just creating a framework for you so you can be creative within that limited frame, it becomes a very different connotation. The dress code, or level of formality, basically guides you so you don't have to think about all the different options of things you can wear, but then once it's defined, you can just be whoever you want to be. Just think about the black tie dress code, which today for most men is one of the most formal ones they will ever attend. No, it doesn't mean you have to wear a black tuxedo with black pants. You can have black watch tartan pants. You can have a burgundy dinner jacket. You can even have a more colored bow tie. So in a nutshell, formality isn't there to hurt you. It just helps you so you don't have to reinvent the wheel and think about all the possible things you might possibly do. Now when it comes to accessories, let's illustrate that point with a Nomos Tangente 38 date Love. And no, I don't need to translate that one. It features a versatile cream dial with a brick red minute ring. The blue numerals, orange hour ticks, and gray watch strap add quite a few more colors to this watch. With all those lighter tones, you might think, well, that is obviously a casual watch. But you can also wear it with a formal three-piece suit. For example, here I have this gray suit with an orange-red stripe. I could also see this watch working really well with seersucker because it has kind of a preppy vibe in my mind. Yes, you might think the strap is not the right color for a business ensemble, but the good thing is straps are easily exchangeable. Even if you just have one or two watches, having 5 or 6 different straps can really help you to change the entire look of the watch. Really, I compare it to exchanging shoelaces on your shoes. With a relatively small investment, you can really change the look of your shoes, and the best part is it's reversible. You're not committing to anything. Now, watch straps are a little more expensive than shoelaces, but the same concept is true. Compared to your wristwatch, watch straps are a lot less expensive. Same is true with shoelaces and shoes. For example, look at this black Oxford hole cut. It's a rather formal shoe, but if you add pink shoelaces, you definitely add a bit of whimsy to it, and it becomes a much less formal kind of look. Also, if you utilize changing up the shoelaces or the watch strap, it allows you to have more money left over to buy a really nice watch that you like, or maybe a really nice suit or other expensive item that if you had to buy over and over again in different color variations would be extremely costly. So if you thought of formality as something that's limiting you, think again. Which brings us to our fourth point. I noticed that people who I consider to be well-dressed always own their look. What exactly do I mean by that? Well, if I look at the people, they are confident. They look comfortable in their skin, and they're not wearing a costume, and they don't appear to be insecure. They wear it because they want to wear it, and they're convinced that this works for them, even though it may be very different from what all the people around them are wearing. And this is exactly the reason why we constantly emphasize you and your style and how you feel and how you want to express yourself. Because at the end of the day, if I like this outfit and you wear it and you're not confident about it, it will show. And so overall, it's not a look that works well for you. So just take the conventions, guidelines, and rules of classic style, understand why they exist, and then adapt them to make them your own so you create your hallmark look. And that is a secret of being well-dressed. Look at Preston, for example. He always wears a hat when he goes outside, but he oftentimes wears short-sleeve shirts. Now in the evening, he prefers a neat and classic elegance of the 1930s golden era of menswear. And of course, because he's a robot. If you don't get that joke, check out this video with him here. Kyle, on the other hand, prefers more casual elements. He also likes things to fit really snug, and he doesn't own a white tie ensemble. That's just not him. I think for the longest time he didn't even have a tuxedo, and that's fine. He's still well dressed in his very own right. Whether he wears a nice overcoat or kind of a light-colored cream tone ensemble, he definitely stands out from the crowd. He's comfortable in what he wears, even though I wouldn't wear the exact outfit, and I like things to be a bit more roomy than he does. Or look at Ivan, for example. He had this ivory-colored dinner jacket and Albert slippers in velvet, and he skipped the socks for an evening event. He also likes to wear his pants really, really short and slim at the hem. Personally, that's not quite my look, but it really works for him and his height and his confidence level. Now, if you look at David, he's wearing a black tuxedo, but he's a metalhead, and so he likes to have bolder accessories, and that works for him. So what about my style? Some days I like to go really formal. I like a stiff, boiled front shirt, and other days I go a bit more casual. Today I'm wearing a white French cuff shirt with a green vintage Hermes tie. It has a jacquard weave, so there's a bit of a changeant effect. My jacket is from Isaïa. It's double-breasted in brown with a kind of off-white window pane overcheck. My pants are Fort Belvedere prototypes. They're really high-rise. They're full cut, but not too wide at the leg. The fabric is a wonderful silk linen blend in this white or cream and oatmeal Prince of Wales check pattern. My shoes are dark brown suede Gazione and Girling Lazyman loafers, and my pocket square is from the Wave series with a green wave border, as well as my kind of cherry blossom boutonniere. My socks are shadow stripes in blue and yellow. Now you might wonder, why wear that? It doesn't appear anywhere else in your outfit. And that's true, but if you combine blue and yellow, you get green. And I have a green tie, a green border in my pocket square, and I have the Nomos Tangente 38 date in the color Schlossgrün, because I really like this green. And if you don't believe me, just look at the color Fort Belvedere or Gentleman's Gazette. There's lots of green in there because I love that color. On my French cuffs, I have monkey fist knot cufflinks from Fort Belvedere in sterling silver. They're heavily palladium plated, so they won't tarnish. Last but not least, I chose Roberto Ugolini Giardino di Boboli as my cologne because it comes in this green bottle and I wanted to be in line with the Schlossgrün watch. By the way, you can find all the accessories from Fort Belvedere in our shop, and if you want to check out the full range of all Nomos Tangente 38 date colors, head to the Nomos website. I often hear, man, I'd like to be dressed as well as you, but I simply can't afford it. I'll let you know a secret. Not everything you buy has to be super expensive. In fact, most people I know are happy to wear vintage or secondhand clothing because they recognize you don't have to pay through the nose for quality. What it does mean, though, is that you invest in certain things that you know will help you look your best. So basically, you pick and choose your battles. But now, when I say investment, a lot of people immediately jump to money. But there's also the aspect of time. If you don't have much money, you can put in more time to, for example, find great brands that offer good quality for low value. Or maybe you follow my step-by-step procedure on how I score 90-95% off every time on goods on platforms like eBay or Etsy. You can still get really nice things like this Isaïa jacket, which is a very high retail price. And if you want to learn more if it's worth it or not, we got a video for you. But I scored this for $200 on eBay. Now that's a lot more affordable, and it was in perfect shape. I also did a video before where I created a whole outfit based on a certain dollar amount. So check that out so you can see what tactics I apply to get a full outfit that really works well for me. It makes me well dressed and it doesn't break the bank at all. Now, sometimes, yes, it means you have to save up money to buy that piece that you really wanted. Maybe it's in a certain color or a pattern. Maybe it's the fit. Maybe it's the fabric, the finish, the style. Or maybe it's a specific item like a fine wristwatch from Nomos Glashütte. Whatever it is, there is value in saving up for something like that. And I can tell you from experience, the suit that you've saved up for 6 months or a year will become a lot more valuable to you because of it. Keep in mind, quality material and workmanship don't come cheap. So if you want something new, you will have to shell out some money for that. So what I do is, I love secondhand shopping, and so I get cool things, and then if I find something that I really want new, I can still go for it. After all, this is exactly why we started the series, Is It Worth It? So we can look at high-priced or iconic items and help you decide whether they're worth your hard-earned money or not. At the end of the day, we want you to get something that really works for your style, where you feel confident, where you look well put together, and where the environment is not really stressed more than it has to be, because if you have that one item that you can wear for 10 years or 20 years down the line, it's a lot more environmentally friendly than if you get organic cotton that you throw away after a season or two. So investing time, money, and effort into acquiring your outfits, but also in caring for your outfits, is one of the secrets of always being well dressed. The sixth thing you have to keep in mind is that fit is always king. Yes, I knew we were waiting for it, but I must say it. We have an extensive range on how things should fit, from pants to jackets and suits and so forth. So please go and check that out. So what does that mean if we have to distill it down? 1, buy clothes that are as close to your perfect size as possible when you start out. Budget some money for alterations. We're asymmetrical human beings. Everything off the rack is symmetrical, so you have to make adjustments to get that really nice looking fit where people are like, wow, you look great. Finally, keep in mind that fit is an ongoing process. Maybe you had a really big lunch the other day, or you started working out a lot more. You're aging, your body changes, and so will the fit of your clothes. Be gracious and understand that you may have to go to the alterations tailor over and over again to keep up with your body. Now, on the flip side, it can also be a great motivator to keep a certain weight or muscle mass so you don't grow out of your clothes all the time. Properly altered clothes that fit you don't alter your body. They just create proportions and make you look more attractive than you already are. Appearing well-dressed doesn't mean you have to have a 30-inch waist. You can be who you are, but with the right fit and the right clothes, you're just the best version of yourself. Man, I think I'll try all these different watches that Nomos sent us to see how they work with this outfit. They also have this Lakritze version, which means licorice in German. Definitely more muted. I think I'd change the tie, but it could still work. Now, what are your secrets to always being well-dressed? And which ones of the Nomos Tangente 38 date is your favorite color combinations? Please share with us in the comments below.